Will gold or silver open higher or lower? Or will they do different things? Let's see what the coin says. And she comes up a bear, which means lower. Well, for you coin nerds out there like myself, 1879 AU Morgan dollar. And good afternoon, folks. What's up? This is Brian Kuzmar from Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals. I have got the Lighthouse Hillsborough Hillsborough Inlet Lighthouse cam up here. And as you can see, the lighthouse is up here, man. Really cool place. I usually take my boat out of there, and I am located down the beach stretch here where you don't see any condos. See that little stretch right there? That's Lauderdale by the Sea. But what a beautiful day out there, 82 degrees, and man, wishing got my motors on my boat. I'd be out there myself. Can't wait to get back out fishing. And a lot of you don't know, I had my bicep tendon reattached, so I was in surgery about a week ago. So and I had Lakeland Collectorama last week. It's been pretty busy. No excuses for not making videos. You know me, I don't need them. So, but nice to be back here. And again, what a lovely day out there. Well, let's get into the video here and some things I want to talk about. And what might that be? Well, sadly, Ted Butler has passed, and as you know, I have been a longtime subscriber of Ted Butler. In fact, I have to wholly admit that Ted Butler, has made me a lot of money, and let me tell you how. I've been talking about, we know how the COMEX silver is rigged, and that gold is also rigged to some degree, but maybe by different large commercial bank players and such. And the COMEX silver and other silver is rigged by large commercial bankers. And how did we learn that stuff? Mostly through Ted Butler here. That's how I learned it mostly, and also the pattern on how they do it and how they spoof stuff. And I think he coined the term "death by 1,000 cuts." Didn't coin the term itself, but applied it to how they can knock silver down like incrementally over the course of a week and week trading times during holidays. It's a pattern that I've noticed for years, and I was pretty familiar with it because when you deal gold and silver, you're familiar with these type. You're looking at it every day and you say, well, it's just strange. How come it does this all the time at this certain time, or during holidays it always seems to drop, or this? Well, Ted Butler explained that is the big commercial banks, especially when it comes to silver, who have been rigging the silver market for decades, according to Ted Butler. And again, what he taught me. So I started to be able to ride through these patterns with comfort, knowing that they were only temporary. But Ted Butler not only just told us how and I'm giving the man some cred here. It's sad that he passed away. I think the silver community has lost a very important person. But not only did Ted Butler explain to us, especially which it's very difficult to understand, how they short these markets and how they spoof these markets and those kind of things, and how to read COT reports. How many people do that out there? How many people can do that? But and he proved to us, not only did he tell us it was happening, and he wrote to congressmen and he wrote to the CFTC and governmental agencies who actually have never really replied to him. I'm trying to kind of explain the importance of what he's done. He's taught us all that it's just bullshit. It's just bullshit, and the markets aren't real. They're just paper derivative markets, and they're not trading real silver. And once you start to understand that, and once you understand that the patterns and how they repeat these processes of manipulating the markets up and down, and once you've seen what Ted Butler was proven right, because companies like J.P. Morgan have been fined almost $1 billion, $920 million for spoofing gold and silver markets, and they get caught again in 2020. Not to mention Deutsche Bank and all these other bankers and traders that had got caught spoofing markets. So there was the evidence that we needed has shown us all how collusive these big commercial traders are and manipulative they are, and how it's done and who the players are, and proof again that it's happened, and again proof that we can see visually for ourselves is that these companies have been convicted over and over, like J.P. Morgan. I don't know how they're still allowed to trade gold and silver. However, lots of I'd like to say rest in peace, Ted. I appreciate everything you've taught me over the years, and I hope I conveyed some of that stuff to you folks that listen to my videos as well. My condolences to his family and other listeners out there, because we're a small family when it comes to retail physical stackers and people that understand this kind of stuff that Ted was talking about. All right. And speaking of Ted Butler, this was when I went to log on, this was the last message that I received, and I kind of highlighted what I thought was important. But Mr. Butler said, after further consideration, medical issues have caused me to interrupt service. He has passed away since this time. Please accept this letter as a shutdown. But here is really the iconic statement by Ted Butler. It is somewhat ironic, and I said iconic because the statement is iconic to me, but it is somewhat ironic that at this point, silver never looked better to me. I think the biggest mistake someone could make is selling too soon. And this is Ted Butler. And again, this is the last words on his newsletter. He signs off there. And the very last thing he says to all his subscribers out there, that it's really weird, being in the ill position I am when he was still alive at this point. But, saying he's telling us all that the biggest mistake we could make right now is selling. And I honestly believe that he's absolutely correct on that, folks. The silver community has lost a great person and a great leader, and a person that actually fought a great fight, because there's not many of them out there. I hope somebody picks up that flag and runs with it, because Ted constantly had it in their face on the manipulation that they cause. So rest in peace, Ted. If there's an afterlife, I hope wherever you are, you're doing what you love to do. And no less, let me get out of this right here real quick and go into where we're going here. Spot prices. Let's see what's happening since. It's been all over the place. You guys have watched it. What was my last video? 2 weeks. We've been, 30, 50, 31, and then prior to that, we were up to 32, 33. Of course, the downward prices that we saw had nothing to do with a bunch of silver stackers selling their 100-ounce bars and their eagles, their silver eagles, and their constitutional silver. Nothing to do with that. It simply had to do with big commercial crooks, as Ted Butler, and again, I'll continually point this out, big commercial crooks like Ted Butler, sorry, I got a little distracted. Someone almost had an accident out in front here in my store. But the big commercial crooks that have manipulated these markets around for quite some time. Lost my train of thought there. So that's what we're seeing right now with prices going downward mostly. But the reason that I believe that we've seen that move from $25 to $30 silver, and that we're touching on a higher price of silver, is because, again, of the drain on the physical system itself. You cannot make electronics, you cannot make solar, you can't make all the important products that silver is required in with paper derivatives. And Ted Butler has pointed this out for a long, long time. At some point, the dog, which is the physical markets, is going to catch up with the tail. We've had the tail, the manipulative, crooked ass tail of the commercial banks, with the blessings of the CFTC and the COMEX, in my opinion, for the last 40 years. The tail has been wagging the dog, the physical markets. But the physical markets are going to catch up. The physical markets are why we're seeing these climbs in the price of silver. And let me tell you, silver, these climbs that we're seeing in silver, like $5, that's basically what it looks like for the last couple of decades, these $5 moves, all right, are again, nothing to do with the real physical markets. When you see these up moves by a couple bucks, down, $5 up, down. But the overall movement of the price of silver, what we've seen is, again, because I believe these physical shortages. I think that the price of silver right now at 30 is what we were looking at when the price of silver was at 20. And we were touching on that 35 level. I just think we've moved to, the next $5 level. But still, silver is one of the cheapest damn commodities out there. Gold keeps continuing to hit its all-time high over and over and over. Yet silver, what did we hit our all-time high? Twice? 1980, $50, 2011, $50, which was shot down by J.P. Morgan by their crooked, manipulative trading practices, which they got caught for in 2016 and paid that big fine for. but I digress again. So here we are, 29.57. Again, I believe that we are at like that new level. 35 is the next mark that we're going to see here. We're going to bounce around probably between now and the end of the year between this $30 and $35 mark. I don't think we're going to see $25 silver. I mean, maybe. I mean, we're testing this 29, but I think the days of $25 silver are coming to an end, like the days of $20 silver came to an end, and like the days of $15 silver came to an end. Okay, whether we're at that end or not, I don't know, but we're close to it. So I believe the next level up is that $35 leg. And again, is that good? Is that great? Well, it's sustained. It's keeping up with inflation, I think, at the very least, but it's not where it really should be. I think silver, personally, in my opinion, silver should be $75, $100, $125 an ounce, at least $75 an ounce. The old high of $50 an ounce is bullshit. I think when you come down to what real world supply and demand of physical silver is, it's probably worth really $75, $100 an ounce. Again, that's just my opinion. All right, let's get into gold. Gold holding on really good to that 23 plus range. 23.21 was the close on Friday. And again, I'm curious to see what we're going to have tonight. We're going to have an up or down market. We are going into the summer months, and typically in the summer months, all the clowns, the big commercial bank clowns that screw around with the silver markets and gold, which is, they screw around with gold markets too, but not quite as much as governments do, in my opinion, and central bankers do. But the gold really holding its own. I mean, again, we keep breaking new records with gold. We're backed off a little bit. I think what was the high, 24 and change or something like that. But I think we're going to see $2,500 gold pretty handily before the end of the year. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind on that. And silver, I am sure we're going to see that next level up, $35. Exactly when, I'm not sure. And exactly when will we not see 25 ever again? I'm not exactly sure. But I know for sure we'll never see 20 again, or 15 or 10, unless they revalue the dollar somehow and make it look better. All right. Wow. Okay, let me get into why are we buying gold and silver, and why, despite the fact that we believe that silver is vastly underpriced and that it's been manipulated for years, and at some point they're going to lose complete control of it, and it's just going to skyrocket upwards. And I believe that myself. That's my opinion, folks. But besides that, just as a preservation of wealth, I mean, if you stuck dollar bills in your look at this chart. Here's your max chart right here. Well, I'm not going to go max, just go 10 years. 10 years ago, if you stuffed dollar bills, and not 10 years ago, but almost 15 years ago, nearly 15 years ago. 10. God, I don't know how to do math anymore. 10 years ago, look, you stuffed dollars in your mattress. Here's the buying power, purchase power. If you stuck your dollars in your mattress, you would have been really screwed. Look at that. Your buying power has gone dramatically down and continues to go down. There's your 1 year chart. This is the reason you want to own gold and silver, at the very least, as a preservation of wealth. You're not going to get that with bullshit savings accounts that are paying what? I don't know. 5% maybe now. I'm not even quite sure they're paying that much. I know there's some deals you can get out there where you can make 5 or 6% or 8% with some bond, but it still doesn't keep up with inflation, and we'll get into that next. Before I get into that, United States Misery Index. I used to like this chart right here, and for those of you not familiar with it, it's pretty simple. Just go to miseryindex.us and you'll see it there. But the blue represents unemployment or employment levels. Okay, the higher the blue, the higher the unemployment level. The higher the red. Red represents the inflation at the time, and they combine it to make what they call the misery index: inflation and unemployment. But I tell you, there's no frickin' way that these numbers are correct. I mean, these probably 11.65 looking more correct, but take a look at this inflation number that right here. Look at that right there. I mean, Biden was, again, looking at some really epic inflation here if you compare it to other presidents other than Carter. I mean, if you go back in some time here. But look at that. there's no freaking way these numbers are real. So, I mean, just like the justice system, which doesn't seem real sometimes, neither does the numbers that we're getting and the reports we're getting. And it reflects in all these indexes and reports we see, even the consumer price index for urban consumers. This is done economic data by the the Federal Reserve Bank, and this is their numbers. Folks, I would bet you this chart is much worse than what they actually show us here even, okay? So, I mean, take it for what it's worth. And again, these are the reasons that we want to own gold and silver, not to mention just the news all over the world. The world is being run by some kind of morons, Marxist and morons, well, actually, I've met some very well-read Marxists, and they're pretty smart people. They're very dangerous people too, in my opinion. But and just as dangerous as Marxists, smart, well-read Marxists are morons, and man, there's a lot of them out there too, a lot of puppets. I just hope this thing ends real. Again, you look at all this kind of news. And I mean, does that surprise you right there? No, that should have never happened. Again, we talk about justice systems and trust in justice systems. I mean, and this all goes into our money. I mean, look, we in my videos in the past, I've talked about how many times have I talked about the 2 years ago, I was talking about the weaponization of the U.S. dollar and how these sanctions and countries like Russia and countries like this is before even the war started. I was saying, like, we got to be careful because the one thing the whole world does still enjoy is the U.S. dollar. And at some point, if you piss everyone off, they're not going to want to use it. And that really screws us here at home pretty badly. And that's what we got going on right now. So, I mean, nothing good. The dollar value, I mean, you hear, oh, well, the dollar's up. The dollar's up, all right? But you know what? When people tell you the dollar is up, what does that really mean? The dollar up, it just means it's up against other shit currencies and other shit, central banks that produce fiat. That's all it means. It doesn't mean that it's up and it buys more money. But that's what the general public believes when they watch their favorite flavored news channels and their favorite flavored idiots on these news channels that talk about, oh, well, the dollar is up, and I've heard it from intelligent people too that I guess don't understand what the dollar is and how economies run. But let me not get into that. There's so many good reasons to own gold, silver, and platinum. And there's, platinum, poor platinum. There's so many good reasons to own gold and silver. And I guess platinum is just so beaten down. I can't see you taking any losses buying at that level. All right. Well, like I said, I was at the Lakeland Show, Collectorama Show. Really good. And we're going to have a new one in October. I'll keep you more in touch with that. I should have shot some stuff there and did a video out there. I should have, could have, would have. But again, I'm limping around. I got one arm in a cast, basically, or some kind of thing that I can't move my arm at all. And just been busy and stuff, too, as well. All right, folks. What else am I going to say? Well, what did I hear at the show? Because I was involved, again, I run that show, but talking to a lot of different coin dealers and stuff, and a lot of dealers that sell gold and silver. I was asking them, other dealers that do what I do in different parts of the state of Florida and different parts of the southern states. That's mostly who attends our show there at Lakeland. And they all said basically the same thing. Sales of gold and silver have slowed down dramatically. The sales have, which is really good if you're looking to buy gold and silver because the premiums have come down dramatically as well. And so a lot of folks are going to say, well, silver, if there's nobody buying silver and the shops aren't selling much, and Atmex, SD, and JM Bullion, by the way, we Commercial Rare Coins, my company, here's my advertising. We advertise to beat Atmex, JM, SD, Bullion, and the other locals around here on their prices on gold, silver, and platinum products. So if you're looking for gold, silver, platinum products, make sure you check out Commercial Rare Coins. All right, there's my little advertising. But all the dealers I talk to say, we're not selling a lot of silver, and a lot of people would think that indicates that that how could silver prices go up if there's so much silver with coin dealers and bullion dealers all around the country and in Florida? And my answer to that is pretty simple, folks. Our industry the bullion business. I mean, it seems big, and when you look at SD, Bullion, Atmex, JM, your local dealers, and you go to shows and you see all this gold and silver stacked up, and someone does a video of gold and silver stacked up, it's peanuts, folks. The amount of people in the United States that buy gold, silver, and platinum might represent maybe a 0.25%, and again, I'm just guessing on that, but I know it's far less than 1%. The real market is controlled again by the paper markets. So when Americans stop buying gold and silver, and it starts piling up at shops and stuff, and it's not selling, it doesn't mean that gold and silver, is not. Nobody cares about it. There's still huge industries out there that are buying the stuff, and again, the markets are controlled in the paper markets. So boy, I kind of digressed again there a little bit as well. But the dealers I'm talking to aren't seeing any people selling. That's the most interesting part. When you see gold and silver prices dropping, you think, oh my God, a bunch of sellers. No, all the guys that I'm talking to, all the guys at the show that I was talking to were basically saying, there's, we're not having any customers selling to us other than weak hands, and people are saying, well, I wish I didn't have to sell my gold and silver, but I got to pay a bill or something like that. So oddly enough, we are not seeing much buying going on, and even odder is we're not seeing much selling going on at all. None of the dealers I talk to are seeing much of either gold, silver, platinum, coins, bars, and that kind of thing, buying or selling going on. So it's really an odd time. My thought is that perhaps that a lot of the seasoned buyers, the small percentage, the 0.5%, 0.25% of the United States stackers out there that buy gold and silver physical, they're bought in already, and maybe they're just buying little bits at a time. Or maybe it's a combination of the fact that, with silver, we're sitting at $30. People are looking for a direction. Is it going to go back to 25? Then I'll step in and buy more. Or, are we going to see 35? Then it's going to start moving up, and I'm going to have to jump in. I don't know. It's kind of strange, but we're not seeing, and other dealers across the United States that I talk to, there may be an oddity out there, a couple rare guys out there that are buying a lot or selling a lot, but for the most part, there is no capitulation, from what I can tell, in the retail markets. Oh boy, that was the last video I did. When was that? 2 weeks ago? Oh my gosh, lots been on for 2 weeks, including a cast for about 2 weeks. I've had a cast on my arm for 2 weeks, but let me kind of answer some questions. There weren't a lot of comments on this video. Last week's video was about what dealers pay for gold and silver. I was just sharing what guys like me and other dealers, coin dealers and shops and stuff, and bullion shops, actually buy from other dealers from, and what the selling price, the wholesale prices. But that was that video, and let me talk about some comments here, because there's not a lot of comments, and I can get through them real quick. Airy61 says, good morning, Brian. Love the fishing stories. Thank you. Appreciate that. Living the dream. Total percentage is all central bank gold holdings. Only 6%. Interesting numbers. I'm going to look that up, but thank you, Living the dream. Appreciate that. Hope you're having a good weekend. Land Shark says, time to buy the dip soon. Yeah, we are at the dip right now, I think, for the last month or so, or a month plus, at sub $30. So here we are. Have you listened to Ted Speaks? Only buy silver eagles, not type 2. They're tracked. No, I haven't, honestly, but I'll have to take a look at that. I don't think you're talking about Ted Butler, but next time, provide a link to that. I'd be curious. Keem63301 says, Bullion Express sells 90% for spot, plus free. Oh, yeah, I saw that. I think I responded to that. Here we go. And I responded to Keem. Thank you for watching, by the way, Keem63301. I responded that says, that's called a loss leader, and a lot of people do that, including myself, actually. A loss leader means it's no money to be made at the price after cost. So selling 90% at that cost at that time, there's really no money for the vendor, but what he does get is a bunch of valuable stuff. Many companies do this. We do it as well. It gets more customers in the door, and I guess in this manner would get like more names in your database, all right? And they get your address information, they can sell that to other companies, but we don't do that ourselves. And again, most all of our customers are walk-in. We are a brick and mortar place. Many newer companies do this online as well to build a base and a mailing list, and it's pretty smart. you're not losing any money. And again, getting new customers is very expensive, so why not offer a product really cheap and get new customers out there? And again, you get on their mailing list, they have your name, they have your address, they have your phone number, all that good stuff. But that was a good deal, absolutely a good deal. And again, we run good deals here as well, what we call loss leaders, kind of loss leaders. But we're not advertising on the internet as well. We're not getting your address and phone number unless you're doing super large deals that we have to take checks on. Hey, thanks for watching, Chemo. Appreciate that. Buy Stocks has picked up a kilogram for $9.80. Good for you, sir. Appreciate that. Welcome Services. You be well. Joe McDonald says, how long of a wire would an ounce of gold making a small I don't know, I think I've heard that. Is that a joke? I'm not quite sure, but gold can be stretched out for quite some time. I know that. A lot of interesting qualities gold has. Silver Liner says, Brian, precious metals like I do stocks. I only buy if it goes below an average. I don't see that happening anytime soon. I hope you're doing well. Thank you, Silver Liner. I hope you're doing well too, sir. Kind of funny, those YouTube metal bugs that peddle ETFs to get a little kickback. Yeah, there's a lot of those guys out there that get kickbacks from peddling people's stuff. I'm not a big fan of. I like ETFs. I would do ETFs if I was doing some kind of day trading, or and I could do the trades really cheaply. If I was day trading gold and silver, I would do ETFs because the physical premiums are just too crazy to do it. But I feel much safer owning physical metals than I do owning an ETF. That's for sure. Mark Aurelius says, "Yay for KRs." Hey, shout out to all you South African stackers. Appreciate you watching. Toker Talk says, over time I learned to avoid dealers and buying and selling. I've saved many product by myself. Couple pics on my phone. Well, here I wanted to read the rest of it. I didn't get a chance to read this video, this one earlier, but there's a lot of money saved if you do. Yeah, the only problem with buying stuff online is just again, I'm not talking about APMEX, SD, and J and bullion. By the way, I'll beat the prices if you're looking to buy gold, silver, platinum, and the locals. I'd be leery buying on eBay. I'd be leery buying on. Definitely would not buy on any of the forums where you have to meet someone somewhere, or buying where you have to meet somebody at your home. Especially, no frickin' way. Maybe if you're meeting someone at a public place or something like that, that's a different story. But I'd also be very leery of counterfeiting. And now you can buy some equipment that helps you tell counterfeits, but it gets very expensive to get the good equipment. And oddly enough, one piece of equipment doesn't do everything. We do use multiple pieces of equipment here. But thanks, Toker Talk. Appreciate your thoughts there. Run, baby, run. I agree. We're not quite there yet, but we are going to see it. His Silver Cobra. Jeff Keller says, got a 1/10 ounce last week. Okay, very cool. Walter Paul says, absolutely, when you come in again, call before you come in because I'm not always here. What do I think the reception to a new U.S. Canadian 1 ounce silver from when purchase price 35 and value 25? I think we get a good measure of retail. I don't know. To reception to a new U.S. maybe Canadian 1 ounce coin. Well, I guess you're just talking about an alternate to the Silver Eagle. I'm not quite sure there. But again, my head's a little fuzzy right now from. I don't know what it's fuzzy from. It's just fuzzy still. Thanks, Walter Paul. Appreciate that. Michael Matthews, what's going on? A sip of coffee to you. Cheers. I'm drinking out of my Green Yeti coffee cup. Michael Porter, you get more views if you talk politics like Tim does on Yankee Stacking. I'm planning to come down to Florida. Yeah, make sure you call me before you come in. I do kind of delve into politics a little bit. My videos have been kind of much shorter. I haven't been doing them as much as I used to in the past. But I will get back into the spirit of things. I keep threatening you guys I'm going to do that, and I will at some point. I just got a lot of stuff to square up, and a lot of stuff going on. Just busy too. And Walter Paul says, yeah, rest in peace. Yeah, he never seen better conditions for silver, and that was one of his last messages. Again, rest in peace, that's for sure. All right, folks, if you're looking to have some interesting conversations with me, catch me out on what is known, formerly known as Twitter and currently known as X. There I am, Brian Kuzma. You can catch me there. And I think there's only one of me so far. I'm not that popular. There's any clones. But kind of been posting some questions out here, made some really cool friends as well. And again, a great place to converse with each other and talk about silver, talk about gold. And you can probably even maybe get me to talk about rare coins too, which I'm pretty good at. Well, that's it, folks. Think for yourself, question authority, and mostly question yourself, because what you know may not be correct. And again, always good to reconfirm that stuff, because we're lied to so much in life, and who knows what lies we're still following. All right, that's it, man. If you're looking to buy rare coins, gold, silver, platinum, and you live in South Florida, make sure you hit us at Commercial Rare Coins and Precious Metals in beautiful Lauderdale by the Sea. We'll beat Atmex, SD, and the JM and the guys online. We'll also beat the locals as well. And, again, dealing with the local dealer is always much better than buying stuff online. That's my opinion. If you can find someone that's as competitive as the online guys are, I'd rather go in and walk in and see them personally, if you ask me, because you get good advice and you develop relationships as well. So if you can't deal with me, folks, and you do have a good local dealer, stick with them. They're hard to find. Thanks again, folks. Have yourself a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.